Good morning, everyone. This is Dorcas Chandler at dorcasgazelle.com. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Today is May the 25th, 2020, and I just wanted to come back because tomorrow is a very special day to me because it was the day that I sat down with my doctor and I began to do a regimen for my weight, and that was 2015 of May. And so I'm just excited about some of the things that I went through, and I just want to share them with you because I think that sometimes that when we're dealing with weight, we think it's only about weight. But what I found out in this process is there's a lot of things that we can learn while we are trying to work on change. So my topic this morning is going to be the beauty of a storm. Celebrate change. The beauty of a storm. Celebrate change. How can you say a storm has beauty? Beauty, I want to just define three words in my um, title. When I was sitting at breakfast this morning, I thought about beauty when I got my title. And beauty is splendor. How can you have splendor in a storm? And then when you're talking about a storm, it's a tempest, it's a violent or windy situation. And then when you talk about celebrate, you're talking about rejoice. How can you do all these things and celebrate at the same time? And I want to talk about what happens in a storm. Um, as most of I when I first started my weight loss journey, it was before I went to my doctor. I started going to this weight loss program, and I was up over 400 pounds. And every time I would go to these sessions and sit down, and there would be a lot of us in there, but every time I would weigh, um, after 2 or 3 weeks, I had only lost 1 pound. And so that meant I was at 399, and I kept staying at 399. So I went to the instructor and I said, I'm doing everything that this book is saying do, but I'm not losing any weight. What's wrong? And so he told me, he said, you're not eating enough. So I was eating according to the guidelines that was in the book, but then when he told me that I wasn't eating enough, I got discouraged and I walked away. And that was like maybe 2 years prior to me talking to my doctor. I walked away. I said, forget it. And so when I forgot it and just said, I'm not going to deal with it, I was having a lot of problems in my body. And those problems in my body affected not only my body, but they affected my mind. So, as you know, or you may not know, I had an incident where a car came through the school and it messed up my back. And then after the car situation, closed down my school, went home. My dad was dying with cancer. I picked him up off of the floor and it made my back worse. So now I live with a disability, with back pain a lot of time that I'm living with. But I want to talk about change from a different perspective. I'm just trying to give an overview because a lot of times what I'm finding out is this year that I went through dealing with my weight and up and down, in and out, and I have lost some weight, by the way, but change. So, what happened in the last year of my change? One of the major changes that happened to me was when I was so convinced that my mind was going to change my body situation. I was determined because I was doing exercise in the bed. And I want to just let you know I'm still doing exercise in the bed. But I said I'm going to be going to the gym by this time. I'm going to be walking by this time. I'm going to be I'm going to weigh this amount. Change. But that didn't happen like I thought it would. So I wanted to just give up a lot of times. A lot of times I wanted to give up. And so when we don't get what we want or our expectations don't meet up with what we visibly see, we sometimes get discouraged. And I'm telling you, this is 5 years for me that I've been on this weight loss journey. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes I'm encouraged and sometimes I'm not. But in this year of trying to change, I realized some very important things and I want to share them with you. Change is not always going to be the way that we want it to be. It's not going to always come out the way we think it should be. But what about if what we're trying to change, we're doing it based upon what we want and not what God wants? Because you see, a lot of times there are people that have said, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. But that might not be the destiny that is planned for you or for me for my life. So sometimes a door could be shut. My school, I had to let it go. My parents dying, I had to let that go. I lived in California, I had to let that go. I'm here in Arizona, it's totally different. I'm talking about change. Change takes us from one point to the next point to the next point. And a lot of times we're doing things and we don't understand why we're doing. So why we're doing it rather. So how can I find beauty in a storm when I'm just wanting to be what I want to be? You know, the thing that I've learned was that every closed door does not mean that we are defeated or that we should be discouraged or that we should feel bad and down and beat ourselves up because of we're not getting what we want. See, a lot of times when we're trying to change, we want what we want. But the destiny that has been planned for our life is already in motion. And whatever we're feeling in our heart, you know, I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to be someone that sing. I love to sing and I love to write. But all those years I was doing other things that really I love to do, but they were not really deep down in my heart. So now that I'm in a place that I live alone, I'm here by myself, and I started this website and I was wondering, there's a lot of times like, why in the world did I start the website? But I started it. So what has happened to me in the midst of the storms of my life, God has led me to this place. And I'm talking to thousands of people about a lot of different things that are happening in all of our lives. And I would have never been able to do that if I was still running my computer school. So what happened? There was a storm, and that storm shifted me in another position. It shifted. So when life shifts on us, we have to look and see what is the lesson that needs to be learned in the storm. When something changes, 9 times out of 10, there is a lesson to be learned. And if we can learn the lesson, then we can go from one point to the next point and understand that, okay, so I had to give up my school. And I love working on computers. I know how to work on computers. But what has that done? That has allowed me to uh, broaden my spectrum, because now I can mix music on my computers. I can I work on my websites. I do a lot of different things. And so what happened was my school was my preparation. And sometimes we're being prepared for where we want to go, and it looks like it's the storm. But when I was in college, there was a thesis that I wrote, conflict versus change. Had no idea that that was really going to be a part of my life, because what I was saying in my thesis was that if there's no conflict, there will be no change. I'm just writing a paper. So I thought. But then every time something shifts on me, I go back to that writing, conflict versus change. You know, if there's nothing wrong with our life, 9 times out of 10, we're going to keep doing the same things that we've always done. If you look at your life right now, right now, you will see that you either moved from another city, moved from another apartment, changed jobs, and 9 times out of 10, it's been because of conflict or something that you just felt like a nudge inside of you. I need to change this. I want to do something different. So change is good. And if we look at our country right now and the things that we're going through, oh my goodness, how things changed so quickly and so rapidly. But conflict versus change, it means that when we've had conflict, what have most of us did? We had to stop. We had to come home. We had to reconnect with our families. We had to reconnect with God. We had to reconnect with our community. We had to reconnect with donating and helping each other and being concerned about each other, because without conflict, 9 times out of 10, we would still be doing the same thing that we were doing before the pandemic. So if I look at the pandemic in a negative way, instead of looking at it and saying, God, what is the lesson that needs to be learned, not in the country, but in me? See, I got to start with me. I can't change the world until I first change me. And that's something we have to understand, because a lot of times we wanting people to change, and God is saying, no, 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 I need you to change. When you change, then you can go and change the person next door to you. And then when you change the person next door to you, then you can change your community. Then when you change your community, you can change your city. Then when you can change your city, you can change your state. But until we understand what change is and the beauty of a storm, this does not look beautiful. People have died. People have lost their lives. I get it. It's horrendous what has happened in this country. People have lost their jobs. But I promise you, if we learn the lesson of the storm and the beauty of the storm and what is it that God wants from us, I promise you we will have new growth. Have you ever seen it pouring down rain? And I'm from California, and it be so smoggy in California, and sometimes it's bothering your breathing. You got sinus, you got all this other kind of stuff. But after the storm, after it rains like crazy, the sky is clear, you can see, you can breathe. The storm clears out stuff. And so what I'm saying is there's some stuff that needs to be cleared out. So what happened to me this year was I went to physical therapy, and I thought that this was going to be the key to my victory of walking again without a walker. I was just so excited because I was able to walk in the house before I went, and I was just excited about the new transformation. Dorcas is finally getting up from here. She's going to do some things that she wanted to do. Wow. But what happened was it didn't happen like that. So what happens when we have to do something different? I went to therapy. I came back. I couldn't walk again. Not blaming nobody. It was my fault. But because I couldn't walk again, there I was stuck in the bed again and feeling like I'm going to have to start all over from square one. I'm talking about change. But when I got my mind together, I start asking God questions. And I wanted to know, Lord, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I need to let go of so that I can move to the next level? And when I finally came to this conclusion, do all you can, be the best you can, and live your life. Because see, what happens, we have to be able to celebrate. If we're just going to stay so stuck in the realm of, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and when it doesn't happen, that's when we get all of this anxiety and depression and all the things that we go through when we don't understand why things are not working out our way. So I had to learn the lesson in the storm. Yes, I have a back condition. Yes, I need to work on my weight. Yes, I need to continue to move forward. So what I did for the whole month of March, I wouldn't do no exercise. And I just took off. I reevaluated. I reassessed what I was doing. And then I picked it back up. In April, I started doing my exercises back in bed. And I'm doing them because I need to do them. I'm doing it because I need to get the weight off. I'm doing this because I need to change. I'm doing it because I love what I'm doing. Did you just hear what I just said? I love doing what I'm doing. And sometimes when we're having to make changes and they're unexpected or we don't like that change, I did not like the change. But when I embraced the change, did you just hear what I just said? When I embraced the change happened. The car came through the school. Okay, you can't keep regretting what has happened when you can't change what had happened. So I picked my dad up off the floor when he was dying with cancer. Embrace the change and say, okay, but this is what I want to tell you. When we learn the lesson of the change, then it's time to move forward. You cannot keep going over and over situations unless you're using them for a teachable moment. Because in every storm, it does not last. It's not going to rain for all the time. It's not going to be hot like it is in Phoenix. Oh, it's getting ready to be hot, but it doesn't be hot all the time. Sometimes we have beautiful weather here. Some people like the heat. But it's not, the seasons change. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. Seasons change in all of our lives. My hair used to be one color. Now it's gray. I used to dye it, but I haven't been dyeing it lately. But I'm trying to tell you, the body changes. The mind changes. So what I'm saying, the lesson that I learned in this storm was, Dorcas, you love to write. From a little girl, you always wanted to write. Now, I don't know who likes my writings and who don't. That doesn't matter. I'm talking about what I can celebrate about Dorcas. Dorcas loves to write. Dorcas loves to sing. I used to sing in a nightclub, and I've told many of you that. But now I sing for God, and I'm grateful for that. But I love to sing. I can wake up in the morning at 2 o'clock in the morning and start writing a song in my bed. I love to sing. I have so many songs that I have written right here in this apartment on my phone in my office because that's what I love to do. So you know what I said? Learn the lesson and move on and shift the focus. So, I write all the time now. I write on AARP website, Dorcas Chandler, AARP. I write on there because I like to do it. And people go out there and read it. But I do it because I like to do it, and it's an open channel for me. So what I'm saying, people say, well, Dorcas, I need you to do this, that, and the other. I'm retiring. I'm retiring from doing things that I don't really enjoy doing anymore. I'm going to do some of the things for the rest of my life if it's just for today. I don't know how long God is going to let me be here, but I want to do some of the things that I enjoy doing. And most people didn't even know that I like to write. I love to write. I used to always get books from the library from Harlem. One of the things that I've always said I wanted to do is I wanted to go to Harlem, New York, because that's what inspired me to be a writer. I love to write. And I'm going to take some writing classes because I know that I can enhance my skills. So these are some of the things that I'm going to be working on inside of my apartment and doing some of the things right now that I love to do. Why? Because I have learned to embrace the change and move on. So the things that we're seeing that's happening in this world, I know some of these things are not just easy. Embrace it and go on. I know some of these things are challenging and some of the times are tough, but I promise you, if we just put our hand in the hand of God and say, God, I just thank you. Teach me what I need to know in this storm. Don't look at somebody else and what they need to be doing and blaming this country and that country. Hey, there's something that you need to learn in the storm. And I promise you, in the storm, you can find peace. I got a great set of peace. You don't have to be afraid in the storm. If we're afraid in the storm, it's because we don't know who made us. And when I know that God has made me, and I'm only going to live for a certain length of time anyway, and if I be the best that I can be, and trust me, I am not always doing the right thing. There are times I have to go to God and say, I'm sorry. So I'm not trying to make you think that I'm all of that, because guess what? Dorcas is not all of that. But this is what I want to say. The beauty of the storm. There you can find beauty. You can find rest. You can find peace when you make peace with yourself. When you make peace with yourself and peace with God, you can have peace on earth. The beauty of the storm. Celebrate change. Celebrate means rejoice. Even though it may not seem like nothing to rejoice about, I choose to rejoice because I understand now that I can't change the storm because I'm not the storm giver. But what I can do in the storm is to ask God, what is it that I need to change in the storm? Once I find that out, hey, I'm telling you, embrace it. Embrace change. Conflict versus change. If there's no conflict in our life, there will never be no new growth. Never, ever. We learn by our mistakes. Every human being learns by mistakes and error. And as we learn by mistakes and error, that's what propels us into our future. I don't know, you ever been to school, and I know probably most of you have, but you go there, you take a test, you either pass it or you don't. But when you pass the test, you go to something else. When we pass this test, which we will, we'll move on to something else. But this is what I want to tell you. There will be another storm. It might be raining today, and then it may clear up, but there will be another storm. And how you handle this storm will determine how you handle the storms, or how I handle the storms in my life. Hey, this has been Dorcas Chandler at dorcasgazelle.com. You be blessed and know that I'm praying for you, and I'm praying that God just gives you victory. And I'm just so glad that I can come back, and tomorrow's going to be my day of celebrating 5 years of my weight loss. And I thank God for my doctor, who was the one who pointed me in the right direction. I appreciate her very much. I thank God for my sister and her church, and just all the people that have showed me support. I got the best friends in the whole wide world. I mean, people have stuck with me when they should have just dropped me, but they still stuck with me, because when my pain level is high, sometimes my temperament is totally different. But my friends have never walked away from me. I'm grateful. I am so grateful to have the people in my life that love me unconditionally. And the person that really loves me and that will never leave me is the Lord Jesus Christ. You all know one thing. You're special. And if no one have ever told you today that you were loved, Dorcas Chandler is here to tell you that I love you. I may not even know you. I don't even know some of you all that subscribe to my YouTube channel. But you know what? It makes me feel good when you send me an email and let me know. I don't even know who you are. That I enjoyed your message, or I enjoyed your song. I appreciate it. I need the encouragement too, to know that I am on the right track. And I want you to have a wonderful life, because we're going to get through this. And after we get through this, we're going to have to get through that. There's always going to be challenges as long as we're here on this earth. Dorcas Chandler at dorcasgazelle.com. Bye-bye. We're getting ready to exercise. Come on, everybody, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Push your foot up against mine. We gon' make it this time. Push your foot up against mine. We gon' make it this time. Push your foot up against mine. We gon' make it this time. Make it this time. Exercise anything you can. Just move, move, move. We gon' make it this time. No matter how many times we've tried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. Push your foot up against mine. We gon' make it this time. Push your foot up against mine. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. Oh yeah! Make it this time. Exercise anything you can. Make it this time. Don't forget to breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We gon' make it this time. I feel it. We gon' make it this time. How you know? Joy of the Lord is my strength. We gon' make it this time. I can do all things that strengthens me. We gon' make it this time. Move anything, anything. I mean anything. If you're running, if you're walking, if you're in the bed, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ah, we gonna make it this time. Do you feel the energy? Make it this time. Oh, make it this time. Come on. Push your foot up against mine. We gonna make it this time. We gonna make it this time. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Do you feel it? I feel it. Make it this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We gonna make it this time. We gonna make it this time. Put your foot up against mine. We gonna make it. Exercise anytime you can. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. Yes, we are. We gon' make it this time. Exercise. Move what you can. Don't forget to breathe. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. Move anything, just anything. I feel it. We gon' make it this time. We gon' make it this time. The joy of the Lord is my strength. We gon' make it this time. Make it, gon' make it.